Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming to another video. All right, time to decompress. My goodness, everything's so heavy. All right, so the Lakers are starting Austin Reeves this evening, and we're very happy about this. Very, very happy about this because I said from the beginning, this is a point guard who wants the ball in his hands. I know he's a bigger player, but he's a floor general, and we need to give him an opportunity to show that. Uh, when he was first drafted, I said he was more or less a Josh Giddey type of player. You know, not on that level, but more or less do the same things, similar size. They look to score some, rebound some, and get assists a lot. And if you put the ball in their hands, they're going to do a lot of intelligent things that make others better. So, with him getting this opportunity, I think he's going to have a real good chance of playing well. And hopefully, with the big minutes, he'll take advantage of them. He shot 50% from behind the arc in the last game. Obviously, that's something we don't see here in LA. So, it stands to reason why we give him an opportunity to see if he can do a little more with his minutes. So I like where this is headed. Obviously, Russell Westbrook will not be starting this evening. It's been said, of course, that he has an issue going on with the hamstring. So, you know, we've talked a lot about my little speculation and all of that, but he will miss tonight's game in Denver. So I don't know if this is the beginning of how things will be. And I'd imagine we're going to put the ball in LeBron James's hands. He'll probably be the floor general, and I think you'll probably see Austin Reeves be somewhat of a secondary floor general as well. I think that's kind of how I see it in my head. I don't know if they've revamped the offense a little bit to fit what we expect ourselves to be. We'll see, you know. But as of right now, that is what we got in regards to the Lakers. Unfortunately, I got some news, health news over there in Brooklyn. Ben Simmons had a back issue of some sort in the game he's playing right now. I didn't see the highlight as much as anything at all other than the flashing on the screen that told me back. So this is what I was talking about, you know, in regards to players that are going to be responsible for physical defensive assignments coming back from injury. You have to be very careful that they get in tip-top shape, because if they're going back out there to bang against the teams that are now assembled, there are more bigger players out there that are going to be, you know, pretty physical and difficult to deal with for those players who are trying to work back from injury. And when you're dealing with the type of back issue that he has had, you do not toy around with those type of defensive assignments that they're going to be asking him to take on. They don't have enough defensive players, enough big body players to take on defensive assignments that they're ultimately responsible for. And this is what made me say that the Brooklyn Nets are not going to be a very good team. Now you have a situation where you not only remove one of their best defenders, but you're removing one of their facilitators. So it's going to be on Kyrie and KD to both make those other young guys better. How are they supposed to do that if they're supposed to be working the offense and on the other side taking on bigger assignments because of the lack of bodies? This is the beginning of Brooklyn's injury issues, I'm afraid. Knock on wood, of course, but like, you can totally see where they're going to have to continue to do more and not necessarily what they should be asked to do. So this is relevant to us Los Angeles Laker fans, and I hate to tie it in like this because we want Ben Simmons to be okay. But now you can see a path to where the Brooklyn Nets are going to start struggling really, really bad. And it will benefit them to make a decision on their season very soon if Ben Simmons' injury is serious. Because we know they weren't a very good team to begin with, but at least they were starting to hit their stride. Now, I don't know how they're going to win games. And if Ben Simmons is going to miss any significant time, and with the back injury and how it's been described, some of the stuff he's gone through, if this is a setback, it would be wise to rest him and not rush him back. Like play him in the next game or even a game after that. Even if it turns out to be nothing that serious, because of what it's been. And because of what he's responsible for, they need not play around with his back. So that right there tells me, if they have any sense at all, he's going to be sitting for at least a couple weeks. That's gonna take away wins from their team. They need him. So it will be wise for them to start making moves. And if I'm KD, if I'm Kyrie, you know, I'm looking around and I'm saying, okay, obviously, you know, we're committed, we're in this, but if they can't bring us any pieces, how can we compete? The situation is this: Ben Simmons is the third contract. Just like with the Lakers, we have Russell Westbrook as our third contract. For them, it's Ben Simmons. So if he's hurt, damaged goods, they can't move him. Now, they were already going to have low offers for him because he's been playing at a level that's expected for his conditioning, which ain't to the level he used to be. But he's still on that contract. So, you got all of that attached to him, and they know the teams that would be going against Brooklyn in negotiations know that Brooklyn is going to be a team that you can lowball for Ben Simmons because of the circumstances that they have. Now with him being hurt, you're not even taking that contract. So what do they move to get better? How do they get the pieces necessary to bring Kyrie Irving and KD what they need to compete this year? I don't really have an answer for that. Because the only way you actually get better is if you start moving one of them. If you can't move Ben, what are you moving? It's like the other pieces don't really have any value. You could start trying to trade Claxton. He's not going to net you enough to get you what you need. So then you start looking at KD and Kyrie. Because now you got to reset your timeline. See, I said the only hope they have is to blow it up. In my mind. But the problem is they have no interest in doing that. That doesn't mean that they're any closer to being competitive. It's like you can deny your fate all you want, but eventually you're just going to have to adhere to the reality of the circumstance. They're there. They are now there. So I don't know how they're going to react to it. Maybe the team can string together some wins somehow. Maybe they get some guys some other opportunities and they pop. That's always that's always a chance that can happen. But if that doesn't happen, I don't know where the Brooklyn Nets go from here but to look to trade Kyrie. And that's where we come in. Because if they look to trade Kyrie, there's only one place he wants to go. We got the 2 picks. We got Russell Westbrook's contract, and that can net them whatever piece they need to bring to KD. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be enough for them. I'm not saying they would be willing to take what we have. But what I'm saying is now it's time for them to start fielding calls for different pieces. And if it ain't KD, it's Kyrie. And then we get to that conundrum of where does Kyrie want to resign? Where does Kyrie want to play if moved? And then you're going to find out it's here. And then you're going to find out it's only here. And then you're going to find out that we're going to start getting into negotiations with Brooklyn for Kyrie Irving. That's what I think could manifest from this back injury. That's what the Lakers have been waiting for. That's why we haven't seen any trades. And we pretty much believed that this was inevitable one way or another, not necessarily because of Ben's back, but just because they weren't any good at all. Period. But without Ben, they're really bad. And Kyrie's an expiring contract. So, Joe Tsai might be, excited about re-signing Kyrie. I think everything's kind of gotten back to the drawing board. I think Kyrie's regained some trust there. He's going out there, he's fighting hard, playing well, everybody's cheering. So maybe there's a different dynamic there. Maybe things have changed, but as far as I can tell, an opportunity just opened up, and we needed it to open up very soon because obviously we need to make a move now. So I don't know how Rob Pelinka's looking at the situation, but if he's looking at it like I'm looking at it, he's already on the phone with the Nets. I don't know if they want to part with Kyrie, to be completely honest with you. They're probably going to try to part with Ben Simmons. To be completely honest with you. That's the first thing they're going to do. They're going to want to unload him. And what we're going to say is no. No. We don't want to hurt Ben Simmons. That's not possible, you guys. And that's the thing with the Nets. This is why you trade Ben Simmons before the season. And I keep telling all these teams, man, and none of them are behaving properly with some of these players. For the circumstances that they're in, there are certain players in this league that should have been shopped and traded already. Ben Simmons could be considered one of those players. I was kind of on the fence of whether they want to build around Ben or not. But when I started finding about the back injury and exactly how bad it was, when he spoke about it on JJ Redick's podcast, I understood exactly just how far away from him being his old self he is about to be for this upcoming season. It was like, I dropped him in all my fantasy leagues. Like this was very serious. I became very aware exactly what to expect from Ben. It's not a whole lot. So I feel for Ben Simmons, man. I don't know where his career goes from here, to be honest with you. If he's going to really have real back injuries, it's going to be a huge problem on top of all the other issues. But he's a guy who's been putting in a lot of work. So hopefully this back injury can heal up and he can get right back to to his process, and hopefully the Brooklyn Nets will just be patient with him and not throw him back out there to get re-injured. So I think if the Brooklyn Nets don't want to blow it up, their only bet is to probably try to bring in some size. You know, you need a big player that can kind of do the things that you want Ben to do so he doesn't have to do them. He doesn't have to be overly talented, but he has to be somebody like Dedmon or something like that so he can be huge enough to just push people around so that Ben doesn't have to. You know, however that plays out, however that works in the offense, but they got to get bigger. That's the thing, man. If they don't get some real serious, huge guys, the injury issues will continue to just pile on for this team. They're just not going to be able to put up with the big dudes, Giannis and Joel and Paolo and all these guys. They're too big, man. Zion, these dudes, as they come into their building, they're going to find out that they have to guard them every single night. It's going to be another one of those guys. So I'm a broken record. I've said that already today, but it is what it is, you know? And because teams have to adjust to this, and some aren't really up to par in understanding what the field was going to look like, you can start to see what this looks like when they don't. You know, it's like you got to prepare. You can't just throw recycled players out there every time. I keep saying this. When you do so, you run the risk of having them be outclassed by the new guys. And so, you know, we're going to see that manifest very soon. As these young players are coming in and being able to do so many different things, they're strong, right? And they're fresh legs since they ain't got no years on them. It just becomes a situation where they're pushing the older guys around. Old guys are tired. Old guys been eating bad. Some of them, you know what I mean? They're rich. So, and it becomes a situation where it's just like you've had a lot of miles on your career. You're fresh off the summertime vibes, and you're running into these AAU kids that are just going crazy. It could be dangerous out there for them in terms of their health. And so because I'm aware of that, it's like, all right, okay, some of you teams, you think it's all right to just trot out these old guys. You didn't learn the Laker lesson last year. We did that, and you saw how bad we were. But some of y'all did it again this year, and you're going to see how bad you are. So that's what it is, man. I'm not going to even sugarcoat it. That's kind of what the Nets are. That's exactly what the Nets are. And then KD and Kyrie are going to have to be more than themselves in order for this team to be as good as they want to be. Kyrie going to have to get stronger, like a lot bigger and heavier, and be able to push all these dudes around. I mean, some of the dudes are huge, man. What the hell is he supposed to do? KD's a big guy, long guy, but I mean, the type of defensive assignments he's going to be taking on now that Ben's not down there, man, listen. I'd be DNPing left and right if I were KD. I'm sorry, fans. I'm sorry. But when you get to a certain age, you do not want to take on the punishment that KD sees down the pipeline with this team. I'm just going to be honest with you. When you look at that schedule and you start seeing them names, you start seeing the roster, you're like, oh, I got to guard him. Oh, him? Damn, this dude got Scotty Barnes. Oh, man, I got Mobley tonight. Every night. And you start understanding why KD start thinking about wanting to get the hell away from Brooklyn. It ain't because he don't love the fans. It ain't because he hates Steve Nash. No, it's because of that. He look at his birth date and how long he's been on this earth, and he look at these names and when these guys were born and how tall they are and stuff. It's like, man, I need help. This ain't no joke. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get KD. I get it. And the organization needs to understand it too. You ain't taking that punishment. I get it. They signed the contract. I get it. But when they get out there, it's about bones and blood and sweat and actually pushing around. And man, you know, you got to have the manpower in order to compete. I'll take the punishment. Cool. Hey, I'm out here to move, but don't have me doing stuff that I'm physically not able to do. Have me looking bad and then having a peanut gallery showing my bloopers every night. That's what you're setting them up for. Can't blame them for wanting to go to Golden State for an easy life. I'm just saying. So, with all of that being said, I think this is what the Lakers have been waiting for. I think they were waiting for something like this to happen so we can get on the phone with Brooklyn Nets and say, see, you're in a desperate spot too. So you ready to make this move or what? Stop playing games. Because y'all been playing all summer. We could have did our move, but they didn't want to do it because they wanted to sit on their high horse in regards to treating Kyrie however they want to treat him, try to force him into submission or whatever. And this is what comes with that. Because you don't have the bodies to be good enough to make any of that make sense, man. That's what someone needed to explain to them from the beginning. Like, this ain't about to play well. This is not about to play out well for you because you're taking a certain stance without the army, so to speak. Like your team is going to be reflected poorly on it. They're not going to be able to win games. So while you sitting up here like everybody's going to do what I say and with all that, it's like, bro, but your team is garbage. Your leverage is shot by the fact that your team isn't actually good. So that's the problem Josiah's run into, man. Now his team is trash, as I told him it was going to be. And now he's going to have to go back to the drawing board and give Kyrie all this money or trade him to us or whatever. I mean, bro, I told y'all this was going to happen. I told you. The assignments Ben was going to take on was going to get him injured one way or another. And maybe this ain't the injury, but it's coming. I'm telling you it's coming. He can't guard Giannis, bro. There's no way in hell. And they're going to throw him at him, and that's how it goes. No, stop this. Blow that thing up. Bring in your picks. Bring in as many picks as you can, Brooklyn. Reset your timeline. That is your only move. That's going to give you the leverage to do what it is you actually are trying to do here. But as long as you don't have a team that's any good and no real assets to share, in the same boat with the Lakers, buddy. Welcome to it. It's karma as far as I can tell, man. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. BDL 44, I thank you all for watching.